Whilst pilgrims continue their Hajj in Saudi Arabia, one family is remembering its nightmarish experience on Umrah earlier this year. Khadija Amma Sharif and her family went on what they thought was a luxury Umrah package, but instead found themselves and their baggage on the streets of Mecca. Hassan Ghani has this special report.
It was supposed to be the journey of a lifetime. Khadija and her family from Leicester had booked a 5-star all-inclusive package to perform Umrah after careful research on the internet. Initially, things seemed to be going well with a London-based tour operator.
What I really liked about them originally was that they were offering kind of support in terms of CD to get you used to the rituals of Umrah. They were going to also provide someone there to kind of guide you through Umrah, and I thought this is good. It's an inclusive package. It's not just hotel accommodation and flights.
Khadija's husband Amir was also quite happy with the operator on first impression.
So we decided to go ahead with them. And as my wife was saying, they were cooperative and they were quite clear about their system itself as well. And we decided to carry on going with them.
They weren't the cheapest, they were kind of at the high range, because obviously for us it's really important that we had kind of quality accommodation, and the last thing we wanted to think about was in terms of where we were going to stay, whatever. We wanted to be a completely spiritual experience.
But Khadija and Amir say that things started taking a sour turn at the airport when they finally met their tour agent. They say their visas didn't come until an hour before takeoff, and they were told that they wouldn't in fact get the accommodation they were promised. It was also the first time the couple got to see their contract, which they say had been altered from the terms that had been agreed. And when the family arrived in Saudi Arabia, things only got worse.
Yeah, also one of the problems, also when we arrived in Saudi Arabia, there was a problem with the visas in the passport, that there wasn't registered on a computer system, and we had to wait at least 1.5 hours there or 2 hours for the authorities there to confirm these visas and to allow us inside Saudi Arabia.
The journey of a lifetime soon turned into a nightmare. The family found themselves stranded on the streets of Mecca, repeatedly calling their tour operator, trying to find out where they'd be sleeping each night. At one point they ended up in rooms which they say had blocked sinks and not enough space to even pray.
I go there in Mecca or whatever, I go and I pray, and I keep thinking my luggage in the street, what shall we do? And I have to ring this, I have to ring that, and I talk to this, talk to that. Even in Medina, when we went to the hotel for check-in, we stayed 3 hours without checking in. And the agent as well came and he left us, said, wait here, and he went and he didn't come back. I checked in and then the man said, no, sorry, he didn't pay.
Khadija's son Farouk had to make calls from his own mobile phone to their agent, running up a bill of £400, which he had to pay later out of his own pocket. Due to the nature of Hajj and the numbers of people involved, nothing ever goes to plan. But this family believes their experience wasn't simply down to mishaps and incompetence.
Spent the first 2 nights in one hotel, jumped to another one on the 3rd, once again jumped to another hotel on the 4th, and once again jumped to another one on the 5th. That's how our days in Mecca were spent. And when you're at the Kaaba and things like that, and you know that your mother's upset and close to tears, you know, I don't wish that on nobody, you see, that you're at the Kaaba and you know your mother's in tears and your family around you are in tears, and this person won't communicate with you, then you come to a point where you think, okay, something is definitely wrong here at the end of the day, because yes, accidents can happen, mishaps can happen, things like that, that's standard. But on that scale, and so consistent, it's quite frightening, you see.
In addition to their complaints about accommodation, late delivery of visas, problems at immigration with those visas, threats of being abandoned in the country if they complained, attempts by the agent to get Khadija's family with her sick niece to take a 6-hour journey by road instead of a domestic flight as promised. On their return, Khadija's husband Amir found his return journey hadn't even been booked.
They had to leave, my wife and her son and her niece, they had to leave. We leave me alone behind in Jeddah. I didn't know how my future will be. I mean, what my situation, what is going to happen to me.
After pleading with local authorities, Amir eventually did manage to get on board a flight, paying for it out of his own pocket. I left the family's home and headed back to London to find out more about the tour operator Khadija's family had dealt with. Searching on the internet, I found other disgruntled customers of the same company, and even one person who claimed to be a former employee. He wrote of false promises and serious lack of communication internally and between staff and customers. So we decided to confront the company. I knew from calls I'd made earlier in the week that the man heading the operation would be out of the country, but I paid a visit anyway to see if the staff knew what they were involved in and the allegations being made.
Basically, the reason I'm here is because one of your customers says that you basically failed to keep any of the promises that you made. You said you put her in 5-star accommodation and she ended up in 2-star accommodation with her family. She was supposed to be on domestic flights and you sent her by road. And she sent several letters, I have them here, several letters to your company, and she's had no response. She's made phone calls, and instead of, taking... Sorry? I'm here from Islam Channel. Yeah, I've been calling throughout the week.
She denied all knowledge and claimed it was her second day on the job, obviously failing to remember the telephone conversation we'd had a week earlier.
How do you deal with complaints if they come in? You don't have complaints?
Just some people, they call and ask about tickets.
What if somebody wants to make a complaint now?
Excuse me, I'm not the person in charge.
But if somebody wants to make a complaint just now, how would you deal with that? I mean, it says on your website that you're keen to hear customer feedback.
I could see this wasn't getting me anywhere, so I left copies of the letters Khadija had already sent to the company with the girl managing the office. Sajjad Akhtar has been operating as a Hajj and tour operator for 4 years now. He sends almost 100 people to Hajj each year. I asked him what someone like Khadija should look for in an agent before handing over their money.
Because it's a service-oriented industry, I think a person should not hesitate to ask for references. That's very important. You have the right to ask for people who previously used that company for their telephone numbers, address, and you can contact them and make sure they're independent references. That's very important. And the other thing is, with any industry, there are some credentials that you require. Within the travel industry, there's IATA and ATOL are two the main requirements for any professional business which is set up.
Why is it that some are getting away without being members of them at all?
Those are companies that have been running for many, many years, and with the right contacts in the right places, they've been carrying on the day-to-day business and passing on, working year on year with no long-term plans. Any company that has long-term plans will require these licenses to be in place to provide customer service.
Sajjad's company didn't have any problems getting visas for its Hajjis, but it's been a common problem this year. He explains why.
With Hajj visas, Hajj and Umrah visas, it's not like a normal visa to India or Pakistan where you submit the passport and the embassy stamps it. You actually buy the visas in advance, you have the visa stuck on your passport, and then you submit your passports. So the stories where agents are telling customers, we gave you a passport in the embassy and we didn't get a visa, that's not actually true. You have the visa before you submit the passports.
Khadija says her family still managed to undertake their spiritual obligations in spite of the nightmare they faced. She's hoping to find other victims of her tour operator to try and shut him down, so that other people don't have to go through the same experience. It's a fact that Hajj and Umrah fraud are becoming more and more rampant here in Britain. Stories like Khadija's are becoming all too common. Something needs to be done about it, and soon. Hassan Ghani, Islam Channel News, London.